Hello, hello. How are you all doing today? I'm doing fine, personally. I've been hammering away at these tournaments, and we got some fantastic progress. Oh, yeah. One day I'll remember. There we go. Okay. So. Tournaments. That has been my life for the last little while. I guess, standard tournament is essentially done. That is currently up and running, and let's fire it up. Good lord, what's happened here? What's that? Hello. So yes, the basic version of the tournament just got merged. So that'll be going up to Patreon hopefully potentially this evening or tomorrow morning, and then be out for release for everyone else at the weekend. It seems pretty solid. We have a good selection of new rewards, we have new visuals, we have new people to fight, and there is now a new set of tournaments in Shenhenda with their own special rare rewards. Beyond that, tournaments... Oh, good lord, that is loud. Let me... Okay, there we go. My poor ears. Yes, so there is obviously a different kind of tournament, marked as tournament, the Alchemy tournament. That is what we're going to look to work on today. Before we do that, you'll potentially see something on screen right now. We do be looking for an artist now. So we'll have this floating around. You can read the details here if you so desire. But yeah, hopefully looking for someone to come on and start to redraw first characters, then monsters. It should make everything a bit more polished. Fingers crossed. We'll see what the quality of the people applying are, of course. We'll be running it as part of just the game for people who are already interested in the genre. If that doesn't bring any good candidates, I'll then start posting about it on job boards. But yeah, the dev team will hopefully be growing in the not so near or near future. But yes, anyway, tournaments. So we have ourselves this here that you're about to see is the Shenhenda Open Bracket Tournament. So this is the one that is inside, that is now going to be here, the month after the Chenmai auction, run by the Chenmai auction house itself, and you can fight anyone with any build. Now, when this first starts, this will just be a combination of every contestant from the other tournaments. So the idea is it's not going to be super, right? It's just going to be a bunch of single schools. However, because we are now scraping people's builds, the Shenhenda Open Bracket is going to get harder and harder as more and more crazy multi-school builds get scraped and added to the pool of stuff you may fight. So it should be fun. Over time, this should get crazy. Well, I hope so, at least. And once we have scraped enough pillar creation builds, we'll add a pillar creation bracket as well. I just don't have enough, and I don't have the energy to make 30 plus pillar creation builds to seed a tournament. So we'll wait until we have a bunch of player builds to use. But yeah, this one has a variety of rewards. Oh, and we have new visuals as well here. So you can see you've got new final placement visuals. Yes, yeah, it is entirely possible that there will be some absolutely insane builds. However, the builds are not raw player builds. we scrape the player build and then we balance it so that the build itself is pulled down to the difficulty, the vague difficulty of the other characters. So you won't have, a one-shot build, because that will immediately be flagged as being too powerful and be eliminated or nerfed crazily inside its internal balancing. So overall, things should be vaguely balanced, but there will be some that are slightly stronger, some slightly weaker. There's a whole load of variety involved. So yeah, should be. Hopefully it's fun. We'll see. We run this for a while. If it's not that good, we'll see how it goes. Yes, so you can see here we have a variety of new items. A fancy new mount, in this case one that blows up your enemy. Every 5 rounds essentially does a whole bunch of scaling off the amount of damage you take. An item that can be crafted into stat pills. And a fancy mirror thing that again scales off if you take damage or if you block damage. So there's a whole load of hopefully interesting mechanics you can get out of this, and these are exclusive to winning the tournament. Well, if you want to craft them, you have to win, so you can't do it. You can't get these any other way. So yeah, that's what you can look forward to, and you'll see here you have a variety of foreground characters with tons and tons. I think I added maybe 400 new lines of dialogue just to seed all of this. Which is obviously a fair bit of extra translation to do. But anyway, that is my waxing lyrical about all the cool things that I've made so far. But we want to make new things. So this is obviously the standard single elimination bracket style tournament. We, however, want another type. There is the Alchemy tournament is our current implementation of that, where we have something that isn't combat, and there isn't a clear competing mapping between two characters for there to be like an elimination style thing. So there needs to be an alternative way of specifying the rankings and the eliminations and essentially just the whole tournament structure. That is also something that can be applied beyond Alchemy. I think one of the ideas that we had floating around was like a hunting tournament, or should I say like a monster slaying tournament, where you get points for something. So this structure is what I want to take today to think about. Will we implement something? I don't know. It is very much on I had a vague idea with where we want to go, and I'll talk out loud, and you can tell me if my ideas are ridiculous or stupid, and we will come to a conclusion of what we're going to do about the other types of tournament. So, I think I'll find our lovely gala draw, and we'll draw some stuff on there. I can figure out green. Yep, this looks like Excalibur. Brilliant. So we have a. Well, this is the original plan. For those of you who weren't here when we were drawing this up, this is the original idea for what the the festival tournaments would look like. With the fact that you're proving your mastery, is one-on-one combat, actually simulating the enemy matches. Done. There's now 5 rounds, so there's 64 contestants, applicants, characters. We scrape builds. We haven't done any rival stuff, so this is something that maybe we'd want to do in the future, is doing this portion where we have a clear story for some of the characters in the tournament. The interactivity, we eliminated the excitement system. This just turned out to be too clunky. It didn't feel like fun. However, we do have the between fight actions, but we only have the top 2. These ones are currently not done. And we decided that watching other fights was a bit boring, so that one I eliminated as well. So you can see here, of the things that we have, we kind of did all of them. Okay, we haven't done these 2. But we did all the others. Oh, come on. Get down there. So we did all of these. We did not do these. So there's a whole load of different stuff that we could eventually, if we're going to extend the tournaments even further, things we can build in. Of course, I'm not going to build them all in simply because I could spend the rest of forever making the tournaments the most awesomest tournaments ever. However, that is not the best use of my time. Much better will be we go ahead and we work on something like the sect system. And then we cycle back round and we have a strong ask for putting things into the tournaments again. But, yes. Right. The other types of tournaments. So, if we look back over to what makes a cool tournament, we have our format. This is the top one here, single elimination, is what we've done. But these are all the other types. Now, that is not what I meant to press. Cool. The judges, the leaderboard style, these 2 are kind of the same thing. Let's put them in a blue. These 2 are what we're going to, what's it called? I think going to take as the next type of tournament to build, where the tournament portion of it is the leaderboard. How you get points for the leaderboard is then narratively framed. It could be judges, it could be something else. It's probably going to be judges for the one we're going to do first, the Alchemy. But we could have it be something else, have it predefined. And the bit in between is probably going to be a string of events. So, if you don't know, Ascend from 9 Mountains, pretty much everything is an event. Event is the core building block of the entire game. An event has a variety of steps. Time to bring up some code. VS Code, come back. Here we go. Okay, so the event is the core building block of the whole game. It is this lovely creature here. Well, I guess that's the implementation of the event. Let's have a look at the type. So these are all the possible event step kinds. So yeah, an event is a string of objects that have a kind, and what the kind is dictates what that kind does when it's executed. Unsurprisingly. You can see here we have the full list of things that could happen in an event, and this is essentially the scripting of the entire game. The most core of which are text and speech. That's how we show a single piece of text or a piece of text plus a character. Then you have things like combat, crafting, choices, branches, flags, anything you could think of, you can build through an event. That means that we can script any requirements that we could possibly have. That is then going to be put together with this crafting... Sorry, I guess this leaderboard style thing. Leaderboard style display, where the event... What the event does dictates what the actual action is. So if for an alchemy event, the event would then script an alchemy, like an actual crafting session. And then based on the results, we would then feed that on to emit a points value. And that will then update the leaderboard. So, but then we could also script it with something else. Like we could have a monster hunting one where the hunting portion is obviously narratively framed through an event where the player makes choices of what they want to do that will dictate what enemies they encounter or what actions they may take on, and then they'll get points from that. So this kind of shared infrastructure will then apply to multiple tournament types. That's where we're going to go. So the first thing we want to do is have a little think about visuals and mechanically how it would work. Like what actually would differentiate someone being knocked out versus going further, and how well they're doing. Brain on time, I guess. So, with that in mind, the core thing we want to think about is what would you do, or how would you differentiate someone doing well in a tournament from someone doing bad in a tournament? For crafting, the simplest one, and the way that it's worked beforehand is... Well, it's not been a tournament beforehand, has it? Oh, actually, let's have a look. Back to VS Code. Okay. Yeah. Tiered and stars. But there needs to be something more than that. Let's collapse all of this stuff. That is a lot of random folders I've got open. Okay, data, calendar, Shenhender. Oh, festival Shenhender. So we have the combat tournaments are here. Telsinger, Fruit Vendor, Alchemy. We called it the Alchemy competition. How do we frame it? You go in... And it's not really a competition, it's a challenge, right? Or at least it is for the current one. It's literally you craft it, and if you do good, you get the trophy and the reward. But there's no competition element. So that's the part that we'll want to represent. Now, the main issue with having just a raw... like an actual competition, so to say, where it's a one-on-one, is we need to simulate how well the enemy does, but there's no way to affect them. There's no way to interact with them. So essentially you're kind of forced to just do a max star craft with no way of knowing... Essentially it's random if you then lose, because you don't have any way of knowing what the opponent has done. So that is something we want to change. And there's also no clear... interactivity. Presumably, if we had a one-on-one tournament style thing, you just do whatever harmony you like best, you do it 5 times in a row, and you do it the exact same. So there is no real choices involved. That is something that I'd want to be different. I want people to be pushed to do the different harmonies, and there to be some sort of way of making a decision about which one you use. Potentially, that's something like there's a judge or judges, and they each have different wants, or they each have a harmony they like best and a harmony they like least, and you need to craft things for them. Ooh, okay, so maybe there's a pool of judges that are at the start that have different wants for an item and a harmony, and you need to choose which. You have 3 attempts to craft, so you can craft 3 times. You get to pick the item type, you get to pick the harmony type, and you'll get a certain number of points. But once you've used that judge will no longer review another thing. So you need to choose which one, or so multiple judges. So once you've done one, you kind of have to choose which ones you're applying it to, and you get to see the current status of the other people. No, I'm not sold on that. Right, let's see if we can draw something and, you know, get the old brain cells firing. It is hot again in the UK, and that is certainly affecting my ability to think. Alchemy ornament. There we go. Oh, I should. If anyone wants to look at this themselves, here is the link. Did that paste correctly? Okay, it did not quite do what I expected. You'd have to copy the whole thing, with the comma included, apparently. But hopefully that will give you a live view. If it doesn't give you a live view, that's a shame. Anyway, so let's write down our requirements. So, push towards using different harmonies. Now, by the way, for like my workflow, normally this portion that I'm doing here out loud, I'd do by just walking around in circles in my living room, talking to myself, or walk outside. So I am writing it down for all of your benefit, given that you want to watch my thought process. Yes, normally I'm like the crazy person walking around mumbling to themselves and just barely not bumping into people. Yep, definitely. I need to get myself a whiteboard. That would actually be super useful as well. Yeah, so push towards different harmonies. Interactivity. Viti? Was it Veti? Good lord, how do you spell? Let's go with I. Interactivity with other contestants. Yeah, my English is only good. It's certainly not fluent, apparently. Interactivity with other contestants. Leaderboard based. Only British, innit? We don't talk good over here. We also want some way of ranking placements. So it's not just you win or you lose, you can get a variety of different positions. What other stuff? Differing recipe. I guess complexities maybe isn't that interesting. But the what are they called? Perfection types? Perfection effects? Not perfection effects. Condition effects. That's the one. That one actually does mechanically change how the craft works. Not massively, of course, but it's probably the only way that we can have a bit of variety beyond the harmony portion. So something like you have to pick which one to do for inert. Well, maybe you pick a variety. So, okay, this one technically is not a requirement. This is a consequence of these two here. This is how we do these. Well, conceptually, how we might do these. Yep, we could have them pre-mapped, and so you get to... Oh, actually, that's not a bad idea. Though it does require the user to know more than, say, 3, because otherwise they will just have to do the same one over and over again. Maybe you pick the condition effect, and then on that you can pick which harmony you want to do. But we do still want people to not just run the one they like. Like if they have the ultimate resonance build, it kind of sucks if they just be like, right, I'm just doing resonance until the end of time. There should be something that incentivizes doing a different one. Yes, that's the concept, or at least vaguely what I'd like. So the idea would be something along the lines of there's n judges spawned at the start. Each has a preference. No. Reference? Even more. No. Oh, yeah. Preference, not preference. Each has a preference for a harmony type. I guess it's a harmony. You pick which harmonies to do. Maybe it's like a round robin business where there's a bunch of judges picked. You get to pick one, and then the others are picked by the other contestants, and then it goes round again, and you get to pick another one. Essentially, you'll be probably starting with your favorite harmony to make sure you get it, and then the others may pick the copies of that harmony, and you'll have to go, oh, actually, I want to, do a different one. Maybe you can redo the same judge, but it's like you get half the points. Go on. Reactive is a very vague term. Well, yeah, I think like once a judge has been consumed, I guess, that harmony is no longer applicable. As in, like, sorry, that harmony no longer gets full points. It gets less points. And there's some sort of stacking of points by the other contestants. So you'll be able to see where you sit on the leaderboard, so you kind of know how hard you have to go to get the to get the win, I guess. And this would be probably the full set of harmonies that are possible. And you may not know all of them. So if you have less harmonies, you're actually at a worse position for the tournament because you have less flexibility. Which is great because that incentivizes people to learn the other harmonies. Yes. So I'm liking this idea. So what would you actually need? You probably want a pool of judges that gets consumed. There's probably the length of the contestants. No, wait, that doesn't make sense. how would you have interactivity with other contestants? Maybe you can see their preferences. Ooh, that's not a bad idea. Okay, so you have the judges that have a preference for a harmony they like, and this would change based on which harmonies. Essentially, a harmony that's done by lots of different characters will get lower score. Unique ones will get higher scores. All of the other contestants will also have the harmony that they're going to pick, and you get to see what everyone else is going to pick. You can choose something that no one else is picking, and therefore get bigger points. Or you can try and do one that everyone else is picking, but you know you'll do better on. Or, there's one where even though everyone else is picking it, the judge has a big score for this round for it, and you want to take that. So it's purely based on, essentially, it's not a direct interactivity with the contestants. It's essentially there's a random roll, which is kind of what it'll be, throughout the tournament that kind of weights all the harmonies, and you can pick the harmony that you want to do, and maybe the recipe condition effect is random and it's shown on screen. Look, the more I talk about this, the more I'm drifting away from my entire statement at the start that we're going to make a shared system for tournaments, because this is going to require a bunch of custom UI. So this is not going to be shared at all. It's going to be completely new code for the Alchemy tournament. But it's a cool idea. Okay, I'm liking it so far. Maybe we can bring in some of the tournament stuff where we have a crowd that comments on things, and we have the leaderboards and the rewards for it, and the between round buffs. So you can choose an effect to buff between rounds and stack them up. A variety of different stuff. Now, Drake, on your comment there, whoever has the most perfection wins. The issue with that one is you can't see what your opponent's perfection is. So essentially, it literally just becomes you'd best max out your perfection, otherwise you will have no idea if you'll win or not. And that's the issue with like a head-to-head concept. Unless we make a proper like split screen view where you can see another craft happening and a craft simulator, both of which are massive tasks in of themselves, having a kind of like direct competition probably doesn't feel very good. Like enemies will probably just have a random distribution roll between maybe 3 stars and the max stars. So you won't necessarily know where the other characters are going to score, but weighted so that as long as you make the correct choices, the best harmonies at each stage, and do them well, you'll be able to win. Theoretically, it may suck because there's a chance that someone just rolls amazing and just gets crazy numbers off it. I guess we won't know until we build something. Right, so conceptually, that would also have this portion here. Other contestants show their harmony choice based on the no okay. So the other contestants show their harmony choice. Multiplier to result applied based on how many choose a type. Let me just expand this even further. Go on, make it bigger. To others equals 50% points. Additionally, bonuses applied to judges based on the inverse of how many chose it. Stacking. Yeah. So if no one picks it for 3 rounds, then it'll be big. So you'll be incentivized to pick that harmony because the point value from doing so will be large. I think that's a pretty solid idea. One judge harmony. 1 second, I think it started raining. Apologies for that. We suddenly have a downpour of rain here in the beautiful UK, and hopefully that will sort out some of the heat. And it was coming through my window. Cool. So we'd have potentially like an arc of judges at the top of the screen, each with the harmony above their heads. Oh, sorry, each with the harmony of their feet and a multiplier above their heads. How hot is it currently? That's a good question. Let me go find out. Currently 25 degrees. That is, it's not as bad as it could be, but it is certainly hotter than I'd like it. 25, yes. Was it like 35 or something over there? Yep. I mean, I'm able to function. But look, if it gets down to 20, that'd be fantastic. That'd be what I want. 37! That's lethal. That is absolutely lethal. What the hell? You have my sympathies. Right, so why don't we draw out some concepts? Let me fire up the old tablet. Look, I am an expert at complaining about the weather. I love just whining. Yeah, it's a classic British pastime. Right, where is... Here we go. Welcome to being flashbanged by the white screen. Yep, you know, I have a degree in complaining about the weather. What do you mean the music? Was there no music before? What have I done? Wait, let me just quickly check this. How is the BGM not playing? It's literally assigned. Oh, is it because I muted it? Did I... Okay. Is it because I need to have a... Okay. Let me check this. Is the music still playing right now? Okay, good. Right, I understand now what I did wrong. Apparently, clicking the I button to presumably hide it visually also seems to hide the audio. Anyway, I am now... Look, I know what I'm doing with this whole streaming setup thing. I'm an expert. But you can listen to the beautiful Ascent from Nine Mountains soundtrack. Available now on Spotify, in fact. There's been a whole 50 streams of it, which is not even enough to be 1 penny of income. Trust me, I always know what I'm doing. Right, so we have ourselves Alchemy. Alchemy tournament. So, conceptually we'd have something like a bunch of judges. These are 100% accurate to in-game characters. You can see here, looking beautiful as always. And these would have a icon underneath. Maybe we'll make this icon like a goldy colour. A graphic tablet, yeah. This is an XP Pen one. Very, very nice tablet. I mean, if I managed to do all of this with a mouse, I think that'd be pretty impressive. So we'd have our various little, like, whatchamacallit, thingamajigs in here. The little sigils of our various harmony types. There we go. It looks like that. And then over the heads, we'd presumably have a number. So it'll be like 5%. No, that is wrong. Maybe times 5. X1, something like that. So you'd have a collection of... Well, you'd be able to see what the strength, I guess, is of all of the harmony types here. And then you'd need to have the contestants underneath. Kind of like a face-off. Well, we probably want to render it. We probably want it to make it look good. So we probably put these behind a table, maybe? Yeah, we might want to make it look good. Something like so. Something. Cushions. Maybe. Yep. And then we'd have all of the contestants being behind cauldrons. What's a cauldron colour? I guess like a silvery thing. And you'd have the person sat here. And they'd have the sigil above them that they are going to do. Like that. Maybe 6 is too many. 5. So this is... oh, actually, you know what? We make it 4, and then the player is the one in the middle. That shouldn't make it too crazy. There you go. There we go. Colour's right. So this would be kind of like the view, I guess. The actual tournament portion that has the maybe the table or whatever this indication will be. Like, remember, we do have full body standing images, so we can't have people seated because we don't have seated images. Now, if you put them behind a table, you can just hide the lower part of their body, and that makes them look like they are sat behind something. But yeah, I don't think we can do... Unless we have an image which has something over their laps, and we just cut them off at the waist. Like, I don't know, they're underneath a blanket. You know, they're all snuggled up, ready to watch the tournament. Yeah, we've got to think about what we can do with the art we currently have available. Out there, so they look like a bit more like they're behind a table. So probably we want on the table to have an indication of how many of the contestants are doing that particular harmony type. So maybe it's like, and this would have their like portraits in it. A little white in the middle. It looks like they are hollow. So you can see this one. This is a 5 times multiplier. It's strong. Like if you do, and I guess there's alchemical arts over here. If you do alchemical arts, even though it's a 5 times multiplier, it's actually lower because you have 4 other people competing for it. So it's 5 divided by 4 is the actual multiplier. Maybe that should be indicated visually, like in like a brackets or something, like a slash. I don't know what 5 divided by 4 is, like 1.2-ish or something like. So 1.25. Yeah, close enough. So you can see, okay, well, even though the raw multiplier is pretty good, these other characters, not good. Makes it bad. However, let's say inscribed patterns is the middle one. That's got a 10 times multiplier. If I do that, I'm going to get big results. And this should probably have either rank underneath the contestants or a side panel that has the points. Maybe, yeah, somewhere here, maybe we can have like a fancy little nameplate underneath each of these. We're going to have here Jeff, the most Sancha of characters, and Bob over here. And then they also have maybe like a point thing over here, like 10, 5, so on and so forth. Ideally, actually, we'd have no, actually, 5 will be enough. We have the top 3 and we can put 2 underneath. That way we can reuse the UI from here. Just grab it. Give me more screen space. Okay, so that is our UI for the tournament, like, rewards bit. So we have obviously the top 3, and we can just maybe eliminate... where's my collecty thing? There. Not that one. Oh, yes, that one. Grab these. I guess we can grab the top bit as well. Maybe we take these 2. So it looks kind of like that. That's the, I guess, the rankings bit. And that's what will happen when you win or when you finish the tournament, all of the characters will fly over to these panels here and stand on top of the bits that they were. And hopefully, you'll see where you are. We'll have that be off to the side, kind of like we have with the current one, where it's a panable area. You can sort of like look around. I mean, I think it's pretty solid as a concept. We'd have maybe just 3 rounds to craft. That wouldn't be too grindy then, because crafts are fairly long. We'd have the crowd on screen, and we'd also have the crowd within the craft, so they can comment on what you're doing and being impressed at your awesome crafting talents. I mean, I think I like it. Well, it's a good point, actually. Let's open crafting and see what it actually looks like. Where would we put the crowd? Let's get rid of the tournament. Let's get rid of the event. Go craft something. 1 second. Nope, go away, Peelet. Did I just see people flying underneath? Why are they flying underneath this node? Why are they sorted underneath the nodes? Okay, that is... Yes, okay, let's... Wait, no, that's not the right button. This one here. UI... Visual bug, yes. Followers are underneath location nodes. And I'll credit myself because I deserve all the credits. Right, so there we go. Nice and speedy. I hope you like how fast the bug reports are going now. Immediate send-off. So that should hopefully make your life a bit easier. You won't be waiting and waiting and waiting for it to go. Anyway, what was I about to do? Oh yeah, I was about to do some crafting and to see where we're going to put the old... That's not the crafting. I always get these images mixed up. They are very similar visually. It's like the green liquid. Okay, yin and flare. Let's do one. Sure, whatever. Okay, so where would we put the crowd? Now, it would probably have to be like behind the crowd. Oh, where? Maybe you just put like 3 over here looking in and you don't have like a full crowd, you just have a small one. Because they are pretty clunky. Like they are pretty big visually. No, they end like here. They will sort. Well, I guess they can stretch out to about here. Yeah, well, thankfully, because you submitted a lot of bugs and then I've restored those bugs, it's like the top of my character list. And when I'm testing things, I will just scroll down my character list to find one that happens to be vaguely the right realm for me. Yeah, I tried to figure out how to turn off like the stuff, and they're like, you can either let us pick when to roll ads, or you can pick when to roll ads. And therefore, I was like, okay, well, I'll pick when to roll ads, and I'll just make them the minimum required time. As far as I'm aware, I couldn't find any button anywhere to just turn off ads. So here we are. It should only be 30 seconds if I haven't clicked the button wrong. Anyway, I hope it isn't annoying. Do tell me though if it is, and I'll figure out something else. Okay, so where are we going to stick the crowd on this screen? Because it needs to kind of be... Maybe we put it behind the buttons? Can I just do that? Where's my crowd logic? Yeah. They kind of don't give you a choice. So, there should be something in game. Wait, let me have a look at the combat screen. It may be that we need to define a whole new pool, or at least cut it down to have a valid pool of like lines, I guess is what they're called. Stuff where they shout things. The tournament crowd. Okay, so it's all data driven. Awesome, yes. That should make it simple. Though, of course, this is going to be talking as if it was combat. So let's take that and let's put it into crafting. Somewhere in crafting. Let's just try and put it onto the portion of the screen that is behind the actions list. I guess behind everything. And just at the bottom. We have a bunch of buttons. Those should be the like settings and whatnot. Yep. Of complete. Memo action list. Key pull bar. Well, I guess we could just sling it in here and see what happens. Draw key 0. Announcer key 0. Get idle chatter. Ooh. Crafting. The most ultimate of chatters. Okay, what happened? Well, they're here. Do they look good? I'm not so sure I know if that one is true. And they do kind of like clip weirdly. Here we go. Ooh, crafting. Lovely. Oh, because obviously the screen is slightly clipped on that view. Here's the full view. So you can see they're kind of just like peeking in. Even that view is kind of clipped. Maybe I need to adjust the screen slightly. There you go. That's how they'll actually be. The extra few pixels. Obviously, this left portion looks really bad. The right portion is... I mean, it's not terrible. It's probably fine. I mean, maybe we just have them on the right here, as you mentioned, Grin, because here it looks wrong with the fact that they are like behind where the player and the companions are. We probably want them to be here, and we want them always to be rotated so they're facing in towards, facing to the left. Right, ad break is active. Hopefully it will stop in 30 seconds. Yes, okay, good. It says it's 30 seconds. Brilliant. Okay, we won't do anything else until the ad is done. Nothing exciting anyway. Yeah, I think maybe for the... Yeah. Right, welcome back. Yeah, so maybe what we want is for the characters in the crowd to be maybe half the height or maybe the full height of the player. Obviously, you won't get your companions in the tournament. You'll only get your yourself. But we probably want them to look a bit bigger. Be on the right, not on the left, and facing in. I mean, let's see if I can do that. Now we have ourselves this lovely gap here, but maybe we want the X range to keep clear of spectators, or we could just hack that to. Wait a second. The music stopped. It has stopped. There we go. From 0 to 70. No, not 0, 0. From 0 to 70. So should eliminate the left-hand side. Just have the right-hand side. Nice. This is percentage, so maybe we want it to be 80. That is too much. 75. It's fine. They just got executed, and it's whatever. They're there. Maybe we push them up slightly, make them slightly bigger. Okay, so we want that to be a new control on our lovely tournament crowd. So offset number. So we have our we have a lot of stuff in here. There is a lot of bits and pieces involved in making this whole thing work. But where are our spectators? Our crowd elements. Why is my highlighting not working? Crowd row. That's where we want to insert our offsets. The prevent item buff? What do you mean? I have immediately forgotten where that crowd row was. There it is. Okay, we have our offset pushed in, and now we want to use that to push our characters up. So maybe we didn't need to do it this way. Maybe we can just add it into people directly. We're generating the crowd from build crowd. And this is what we could push the offset into. Oh, wait, actually, we can be even simpler. We just modify them. That's an interesting way. No, fair enough, yeah. So we go for push the offset in. And we just modify our full array. All dot for each. E dot bottom plus equals offset. Oh yeah. If offsets. And then we can hopefully shove offset of say 20. More than 20. 40. Maybe a little bit more. 60. Okay, so that's roughly... They look a bit bigger, which is good. Maybe we now set them all so they're all facing in. I guess it's hard to tell because you only have like small hints based on their hair. Generally, they don't have a clear facing. I think currently the facing is entirely random. So let's just try and adjust that all to just to face left temporarily. Yes, okay, flip. So we want to disable flip. Obviously, we'll need to do this properly at some point, but let's just test how it looks. E.flip equals false. Because they should all be authored facing left, so disabling the flip should make them all look like they're facing left. Wait, no, they're all authored facing right. So they should all be flipped. But this person here, their hair makes them now look they're facing the right direction. Maybe they should all be true. Lady, your hair is throwing me off. Maybe it doesn't matter, because you can't really tell which way they're facing anyway, because they're purely a silhouette. So we will just... whatever, it's fine. They're there. They are there to chat. Now, they also should have a... I think currently the chatter is applied only to the left-hand portion of the area. So that would be chatter, chatter, chatter. Chatter max booked. Right. Of course, I forgot about that. There's supposed to be an announcer right here. There currently is not. Are they off screen? Is that the issue? Right, let me have a look. It's most likely that we put the tournament crowd under a point where it is hidden. Like, where it's becoming relative to something it shouldn't be. We likely just want to put it underneath the entire screen. We put it there. What does that do? Absolutely nothing. Fantastic. Let's find it. Where are you? That's that lot. Fucking top lot. Wait, I need to put an ID on this so I can actually find it. Where is the root div? ID. Tournaments crowd. Okay, so that should now appear. Oh, right, there we go. There it is. So this here is excessively large? Wait, no. I mean, it doesn't seem to be off screen. Where's the announcer? So we have a crowd, and then there should be a bigger announcer somewhere that's added into the crowd list. Have a little look where that is constructed. Where are you, announcer? Are we layering the announcer on manually? I don't think so. We are layering on the announcer manually. That would explain why we don't have an announcer. Okay. The announcer is a separate thing. Do we even need an announcer in this case? We don't need a hype man, really. We'll just have a crowd. Yeah, okay, let's just do that. Let's just only have a crowd. Which means that we probably want to have some sort of thing which says the announcer isn't there, which allows the chatter to expand across the full width. As announcer. Boolean. And if we have an announcer, we can ignore the width thing, the width limitation. essentially this portion here. If not has if not has announcer or this, we do that. Oh no, that's horrible. I don't like anything to do with that. Let's just bake it in directly at the root level. Chatter max booked equals as announcer this else 100, and we will set this to be defaulting to true unless someone sets it to false, and then we'll just use this instead of this. That one. Oh, wrong button. Okay, there we go. There. Awesome, so now we should get chatters over here on the right side of the screen. No, we don't, because I haven't set the flag yet. Crafting screen, tournament crowd, has announcer, false. Okay, we should now have them say, ooh, crafting on the right. Fingers crossed. Though it ain't looking too promising at this point in time. Sure not doing much saying of anything, is it? Have ourselves a little look at why not. Chatter pool. Let's just print out what it's doing, and then we'll see, hopefully. Oh, there we go. It just needed a refresh. The Y position needs updating as well with the offset. So the bottom is this plus offset. Offset L0. That should be above their heads now. Fingers crossed. Hey! Okay, cool. We have our chatter in the right side of the screen. It has spawned the same one twice. I hope it spawns... Okay, there we go. Yeah, cool. We can have some crafting chatter over in that right portion. That should be pretty neat. And we can have them react to things that happen within the craft itself. Little events and things like that. Maybe when you like get close or get low or something like that. So it's a bit more informal than the hype casting of the announcer. Maybe. Because it would be nice to have the announcer on the tournament screen level. You know, making comments when you return from the craft. Some sort of comment on like, oh, you've done amazing, and then it animates to the other characters and they say stuff about each one. That would be neat. And everything updates and something. Yeah. Maybe simply because of space here, we just have the crowd, or we just have the announcer. The announcer's the only one who comments, and the crowd just does like little animations based on what the announcer says. But the announcer then has their dialogue box be here, which you could hide by turning on this and having all of their stuff be behind, but that's a new problem at that point. Yeah, I think that's strong, the whole. Ooh. Oh lord. Right, we want a similar one like this, where we have is the tournament active? If yes, do the thing. Put that up here. That's one chunky file. Oh, not that one. So, if we have a tournament currently active, we'll show the crowd. If not, go goodbye crowd. Now, obviously this means we need to change how tournaments are defined. We need to split them up a little bit. So, tournaments themselves are configured as a step inside a event. Types, there we go. So, there we go. This step here. This is how a tournament is defined. It has the lines that the various characters will play, the ID, which is used for the build harvesting, the build pool, all of these bits and pieces. Obviously, this is all like combat tournament specific, so we want a crafting tournament one. To keep life simple, we could probably just make this as a secondary step kind, like crafting tournament. Then base event step. Nope, that one. Kind crafting. Oh, why can't I type today? Nope. String. So, given that they are all fairly similar in structure, we'll just say this is how a crafting tournament works. Essentially, it's a harmony-based tournament. You do have to have unlocked harmonies, though. It does make it only really possible to do from core formation onwards, but maybe that's fine. Maybe it's fine to not have this be a thing that you can do in key condensation. And we just remove the key condensation tournament. Do we actually have like a trophy or something? We do have the Alchemy competition trophy, damn it. If we could hop on back over to here, this visual, this is essentially a harmony tournament. If you haven't unlocked Sublime Crafting, you just can't do this. Because there's no mechanic you can interact with. That's a problem. Unless we remove the Alchemy competition trophy from key condensation, it becomes challenging to do. Like, conceptually do. What's the decision if it's recipe difficulty based? Like, you just pick the one with the lowest difficulty, right? Because all the crafts are essentially the same, they're just one might be harder. Yeah, I guess you could, yeah. Have it be similar, but yeah, maybe the split isn't key condensation core formation. Maybe it's normal crafting and harmony crafting. And the recipe scale to a realm. So there's no, you can do it in any realm, but it scales to the realm. That might be fine. Yeah, and then Maybe it's condition effect based rather than. Yeah. Yes. Maybe that is the difference instead. It is condition effect, and then you get to pick which one you want to run. So you have the inert person, you have the flowing person, you have the stable person, so on and so forth. Not exactly crazy in difference, but it would be more like a competition. And it would work. It's probably not the most exciting, but it's probably good enough to make the system work for what we needed to do. Something like, that is not how you write a C. Good lord. Condition. QC. DF. Harmony. Oh, actually no. Let's remove realms. No realm. And then it's just those two. And we can just hand wave it saying that you promise not to be a dick about it and make all of the lower realm people cry. And that means also you can do... The trophy is always a challenge without you just being able to realm up and then get it easily like you can with the current one. Yeah, I think that's solid. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I don't feel anything wrong with that. Neat. Now, I was also thinking, because in the... Yeah, look. This is why I quite enjoy doing all this on stream. It's the interaction and the ability to theorycraft live with people and get new ideas. There's only so much that you can do on your own because you get very stuck in your own head. And getting more people in to have more perspectives, having fresh perspectives, suddenly opens the possibilities in your mind. People give like all sorts of random ideas, and this is one of the things I love about having the Discord, where people can write any of the ideas they want. Sometimes I look at the things and be like, that's a stupid idea, I'm not doing that. Sometimes I look at them and be like, good lord, why didn't I think of that? That's fantastic. Hell yes, I'll do that. And anything in between. Maybe it's like, ugh, I guess I will. I do the thing and it turns out to be amazing. And then I grumble about the fact that I didn't want to do it, but it turned out to be good, so I can't grumble too much about it. A whole lot of stuff. So, thank you all of you who continually come and give your input and feedback and ideas. It helps a ton. It really does. That ramble aside, so for the upcoming sect system, I do want the ability for the sect to represent both crafting and combat in its promotion quest or entry quest, or promotion event, whatever you need to do to become the next level of disciple up. I think that will have a variety of aspects to it. It will have yes, the upcoming sexism. That is what we're going for. The sect system. Right, what was I saying? Something about yeah. So there should be multiple aspects to getting to that point. You have probably some sort of favor or reputation requirement that makes you eligible to take the competition. Potentially a tournament to prove strength. So like a fighting tournament to prove strength. A crafting tournament to prove craftability. And And then maybe a mini quest, a little story. Some sort of like, you need to prove you're strong, you need to prove you can make things, and you need to then prove you can go out into the world and perform a task independently. Some sort of selection of possible promotion exams, I guess you could call it. So we'd want something like this tournament to be available in Meridian Opening, which is where you'd be expected to do your first of your sect promotion tasks. Most likely it'll be something like Meridian Opening, you can become an inner disciple, Key Condensation, you can become a core disciple. Also, actually, no, maybe we push it back one. Key Condensation is where you can become an inner. Core Formation Core, the name fits, as I suddenly realise. And then Pillar Creation, you can become an Elder. We may shuffle those around a little bit, but yeah, that would be the rough concept of when you'd be doing these. So, ideally, I'd kind of like a way to combine both the combat tournament and the crafting tournament into one thing, so it becomes one single event, and then that boils out to be a ranking. But that might be kind of complex to do. Maybe we just have 2 of these things back to back, joined together through a normal event, and then we have some way of aggregating the placements that you got to then specify your motion points, or whatever you want to call it. Something that allows you to actually track whether or not you can actually enter the halls of the inner disciples and things like that. And yeah, then we can also have some way of people to actually get these ranks in game, in Discord. I would like to add more Discord interaction, so maybe a plugin, so something which allows you to connect your game to your Discord account, and it will give you roles based on what you've done. So you'll actually get to become an inner disciple in Discord. You'll need to log into a character that's an inner disciple, and then you'll get the role through that. That'd be cool. Or something along those lines. There's a lot of possibilities of stuff I could do. But yeah, anyway, so we have this tournament is going to be solid. We're going to have this lovely selector process where you do 3 crafts and you'll have certain points and then you'll win. Brilliant. What more could you want? We may extend this out to be 8 participants so that we have the ability to fill out all 8 slots, like visually in the placements. But maybe 5 is good enough. There is obviously a downside to having too many characters doing things. It would become a bit clustered. Yeah. Right, what have I missed? What more could we need? What I'm most likely going to do, by the way, is once this stream finishes, and we are pretty certain of what it is, I will take this screenshot of everything you see here, I will throw it at Claude and be like, go build. And it will go build. And then we will clean up where it got to. That is the power of AI agents, and not having to do all of the grunt work of putting things together. Honestly, this new world of being able to throw AI everything is fantastic. It's essentially like having a little dev team, or a big dev team with the ones that deal with all the bugs. So, what would be remaining? Rewards. That is the next bit that we want to think about. So, in the tournaments, the combat tournaments, we have unique recipes, unique items, and unique sap pills. We probably want to have something similar for the crafting tournament. Maybe a unique cauldron. Maybe a unique flame. Maybe unique reagents, or just reagents you can, maybe really good reagents you can only get from the tournament. Stuff that makes it worth showing up. Money and key elixirs is probably another good bet. That's what the reward for doing the combat one is. Right, let me go back to the combat one. Wait. Okay, we'll need to wait for another year. Where's my next year button? Okay, in we go again. Thank you for healing me up. Okay, so these are the rewards you get for the combat one. We have enhancement dust, spirit stones, key elixirs, and items. We could do the similar thing. So that's probably what we'll do. So 2 questions. What would be a cool cauldron and what would be a cool flame? Let's start with a flame, because I haven't made a flame in quite a while and I think they're cool, and yeah, it'd be fun. Let's go ahead and just add every item in the game and have a look at what the current flame options are. So obviously we have very generic flames at the early realms, not counting the Flame of Discordance, but no one really uses it. It should probably be stronger. We probably should buff the Flame of Discordance to actually have a more impactful effect. It is just kind of bad. The first one will be Key Condensation, and this will be a chance where we can actually provide a unique effect to a flame. We have some cool ones up here in the higher realms. Yep, well it's the Discord flame, right? Well, it's one of the two. The real one that people actually voted for is the Purifying Flame. That's what people actually... I think that's the one that people wanted. The Flame of Discordance is the one that Grin wanted to make. But we kind of did it both at the same time. It is just bad, yeah. Someone should fix that. I'm not going to. So, we have ourselves the Fallen Soul Flame and a thing with an effect. Everything below Key Condensation, very boring effects. We definitely will need to flesh this out. Most likely, this will be something to do with the sect motion. Will allow you to get a better 9 Mountain Disciple Flame that has an actual effect to it. We also, if we improve the Flame of Discordance, that'd be another one. And then this new tournament one would be a third. Now, going up to Formation, we have the really cool effect of +1 star. Even if it is more challenging, +1 at the end. That's pretty good. Just big stats. Everyone loves big stats. Where is the... Why is there no Fallen Soul Flame? Oh, it's because I got it equipped. So the Fallen Soul Flame. Amazing flame. Everyone loves it. Probably a little bit overpowered. It has been heavily nerfed recently. We did halve its... we reduced all of the effects of all the souls. So the Fusion and Refinement Soul give you, I think it's about half of their original effects. And the Soul of Key and the Soul of Stability, again, have been reduced. Soul of Stability halved, Soul of Key reduced by 1. So it is a little bit weaker. It's still really good. Like, comparatively to the other flames you have available, like the true Bifang flame, 44, 78, 78, 60, 43, 43. Like, it's only slightly worse in raw stats, and it gives it all these extra effects too. It's just great. Yeah, the true Bifang flame probably could do with a buff. Having some unique effect to it, given it's like part of a whole quest chain and everything, it should be more exciting. In fact, I will do just that. Where's my box? Or would this be under gameplay? Yes. True Bifang flame is kinda boring. Needs some unique effect to make it stand out. Yep, I would like all of the flames to have something unique to them. Well, specifically after you get the basic flame in Origin Opening, it's just a bit too... It's supposed to be your introduction, right? You're not supposed to have like a whole complicated system to deal with when you're first learning crafting. However, from Key Condensation onwards, I think it's fair game, and we'd love to have every single one of these do something cool. Now, we have some more complicated flames moving on from Core Formation. We have ourselves the Stellar Flame, which does the whole rotatey thingy, where you kind of, as you do one type of action, you buff the other type. And then, of course, you have some crazy stuff when you get further on, like the Single Thought Flame. Again, big spoilers if you haven't played this part yet. We have a whole load of different effects there. So we don't actually have that much variety in effects. We have Do a Thing. I think they all kind of boil down to just scaling off action types rather than providing something specific that you can do. Hold'ems, I think, are a lot better in that respect, where we have a variety of a lot more complexity. Well, maybe not complexity is the right word. Things that actually allow you to have a play style around them, which is kind of what we want to have here. We want something where people look at the flame and be like, okay, I want to make a crafting loadout designed to take advantage of that. You can do that, obviously, with the Fallen Soul Flame. That is very much based on you want to get value out of it by grinding out with a longer craft, a focus-based craft. So you can build around it that way. Yep, maybe the what's it called? The true Bifang Flame then becomes upgradable once you've got it to that tier. You can then upgrade it from then onwards. I think that'd be fine. Yeah, this kind of thing where you have strong effects, that's what we kind of want to bring down. Like, what would a flame you get from the alchemy competition that is inside Shenhenda do? Good question. So all of our current ones, I think, interact with either... Okay, all the ones that do something, should I say, interact with the completion or perfection system. So maybe one that either interacts with key restoration, key pool restoration, or one that interacts with stability restoration. So something that leans into either of those. I think maybe stability restoration is something that I'd like to associate with the Nine Mountain Sect one, due to the whole golden color scheme there that would then fit nicely with the golden effects of the flame, of stability with its golden theme. So maybe we want to take key restoration or key pool in some respect. Maybe something that increases your stats the lower your key pool is. So you kind of incentivize to hover around the lower end of your pool rather than constantly keeping it full. That would certainly provide a slightly different playstyle than maybe people normally do. Maybe something that scales off how much pool you spend. So every time you spend a percentage of your pool, you do something. Maybe like every time you spend 1% of your key pool, you get a 1% buff. You get one stack of a buff, and that buff gives you 1% to control and intensity, and then you lose 1 per technique. So you're constantly needing to spend key pool to keep it up, but you can stack it quite high if you have a lot of restoration and spend. So you're kind of incentivized to have big pool restoration, but also large cost multipliers. And you can stack the bonus quite high. Would that be overpowered? I think it'd be cool, yeah, definitely. I think it'd be fine. So what I'm thinking is, would it just be another focus build? That's what we want to avoid. Yeah, they're all additive. Or they should be. I haven't actually checked. They may be multiplicative due to some of the things I've seen some people do, and I've just never put the effort in to find out if they are or not. But they should be additive, and if they aren't, it's a bug, and I'll fix. Yeah, it would scale like crazy. I think it'd be cool. I think I like that idea, actually. And then we sort of like set aside some energy to give the... So we set aside the design space of interacting with stability to the 9 Mountain Flame when we build that. Okay. Let's build ourselves a flame. So, next question is name. Here is our beautiful list of names. The flame list is obviously so tiny. It's definitely an underutilized item type. Amusingly, given how important it is. Yeah, true. Yeah, it'd be useful for everyone. Yeah, I did want them to be rare, and they kind of are. They should only be like pinnacle rewards of things. Yeah, so you're incentivized to not reduce your costs, but to instead increase your gains. Or restoration, should I say. Yeah, we're looking to add, 2 more? So hopefully that won't feel too bad. And then make the ones that we do have more exciting. So, flame. So this is one that will be acquired in the... Oh, we kind of need 2, don't we? We need one... Oh, no, actually, no. Ignore me. we would only do it for the Harmony one. So you can only get the flame by doing the Harmony variant. The base variant you won't get a flame for. So there we go. We don't have 2 of them. We just need to make 1. It needs to be upgradable, because otherwise it will just immediately become obsolete. A name that evokes the fact that it is based around your key pool, and that is purple. It needs to be a purple flame because that's the key pool color. It could be boring and just throw the word amethyst in there somewhere. Maybe a bit of history to it. That water. Oh yeah, it can be something. It can be from the Azure Dragon sect. Something that's pulled from the far west. Yes. Flame of the Amethyst Dragon. Something like that, and then the whole lore is that it comes from over there. It's one that's pulled from the dragon itself. Flame of the Ocean Dragon. That's a cool name, right? Okay, Flame of the Azure Depth is actually way cooler. Okay. That seems like a solid name. Yeah. Flame of the Azure Depths. And the first realm we were able to get it is Core Formation. Well, that's the expected realm. You could grind and get it earlier. IV. Description. Rarity. Incandescent. Is very bright. Realm Core Formation. Okay. Some lore time. A flame graciously donated to the tournament of Shenhenda by the Azure Dragon sect, pulled from the ever-burning core of their namesake. It can... What can it do? It can serve as an eternal source of power in crafting if fed key. Though in theory this can be done directly, in practice most crafters do such by the discarded, no, the offshoots, the remnants, the discharge, the remaining discharge, the discharge remaining when using their techniques. Something along those lines. Now, remind me. Get crafting equipment stats. Beautiful, yes. Core formation. It can have late scaling. It can give mostly pool. Wait, what's your stats? Oh, where's the flame? Flame core formation 1.5. Bloody hell, that's a lot of. Well, you know, if Fallen Soul Flame can do it, I'll do that too. Maybe 2 and 1. So it doesn't give you a lot of raw stats, but it gives you a lot of pool. Actually, you even want a lot of pool. You want less pool because then you spend more. Maybe it gives you a lot of stats. Maybe that's its core thing. 1. We'll put this up to 4 and 4. There we go. That's a pretty solid flame. Yeah, that's a pretty cool one actually. So maybe the idea is you spend it and then it restores. So the way that we balance is this. So let me actually have a little show and tell here. So all of the stats on crafting equipment is derived from a centralized set of equations. So what we do is we have a crafting equipment. So everything is derived from pool. That is the core way that all of the crafting stats are derived. We say we have a rough idea for how much pool you'll have because it's a flat number that increases linearly as you increase in realms. Well, technically as you increase in stats. Then there is crafting equipment that gives you bonus pool on top of that. So in this case, in say core formation, your cauldron will give you 80 extra pool and the flame will give you 40 extra pool. Then, when we design a crafting item, like here, we distribute that extra pool across the different stats. So we say 1 times the pool goes to pool, 0.4 times the pool goes to control, and 0.4 goes to intensity. And then how we do that is, this is the particular equation. This is the assumption, like the base numbers. If you use the starting techniques, to just click the button to increase your simple refine and simple fusion. This is the amount of control equivalent you'd get. So based on that, we then calculate how much the pool is worth in raw control and raw intensity, and therefore we derive the final result. So that is how all the numbers are created. We essentially say, okay, we have this much pool, this much control, this much intensity, and then that is, for example, on the Fallen Soul Flame, it's the same. Well, it's supposed to have been the same for all of them, but apparently I stat inflated it like crazy. Let's nerf it live. There you go. Fallen Soul Flame has had another little nerf. You're all excited, right? There we go. Beautiful. But yeah, so we specify these numbers. It then generates the stats from it. That's the gist. This is the concept that most of the game runs down. Is I don't want to have to manually balance 100 different things. For example, in combat, if I decide it should be more difficult, I don't want to have to change 400 different characters. I instead say what expectation I want, so vaguely what experience there should be, and I use that to then derive the actual stat numbers afterwards. So yeah, it is a way of making sure that my life is easier and the game is a bit more consistent. But yeah, anyway, lower. Maybe actually even lower. Maybe this is not it doesn't give you much key pool. There you go. but it gives you a lot of control and intensity. The Fallen Soul Flame has about, for the actual one that does stuff, that's what, let's say 2, so 4, about 2 total. This is a bit under actually, so we can increase it slightly. That's 17. That is 19. So 1.9, this is 1.7. $1.8. Close enough. This is probably a very good flame. So the... And then we need the effect, the buff. And then yes, we will also add a... One of the rewards might be... Maybe we just add... Instead of being a tournament reward, we'll just have it as a crafting action just available inside like the Shenhender shop, which is... Oops. Which is called Feed the Flame, and it will do something around... maybe it costs a certain amount of key, and it restores slightly more over time, so you're incentivized to reduce the cost when it runs, and then increase the gain when you get it. And then you kind of like... It's a way of restoring your key over time. It would make much sense to be called Feed the Flame, to be fair. Mainly with the crafting actions, they are kind of... Maybe they should be tournament rewards and I should stop overthinking it. Okay, so the buff itself will be a... one second, let me just write the base stuff. Buff stacks. Okay, so we have ourselves the buff, which again will have the exact same name. Can't stack, doesn't show anywhere other than above the bar. And what it will do is it will have... Yeah, some sort of... You gain stacks and you lose stacks. And what would it do? Would it be just focus again? Because obviously that's the OP. An expensive focus? I guess the question is, why would you use it but not focus? Fair enough, yeah. Can't argue with that one. Right, so we want something like... It should lose a stack if it has more than one stack. Kind... Buff. Self. Count. 1, 2. Mode. More. Amount. Count. Stacks. There we go. I can never remember what I've set as all of these different numbers. Stats undefined. Okay, so every time... If you have more than one, it will lose one. And it also needs a... I don't have triggers in crafting yet. Okay, I'll need to add crafting triggers. Trigger. When spending key, gain a stack for each 1 cent spent. Store partial in internal state. And this is some internal state is something the combat has, but craft doesn't have right now, so we'll need to add that too. And it's going to give us control. We'll finish in a second anyway. We'll re-snooze that. It's fine. The stream is coming to a close as it is. So, how much control? 3% control per stack would be too strong. 1% control per stack. Yeah, maybe 1% per stack. And then scaling stack. And we do the same for intensity. So it's essentially just increase your stats. There you go. So we have this, as you spend your key, you'll get stronger. That's solid. Now, obviously, we need a lot of infrastructure to make this work. So, I guess Claude's going to be busy. It's got to build out all the bits and pieces into crafting we don't currently have. But then we'll have ourselves a snazzy new flame to go inside our snazzy new crafting tournament. How exciting. But yeah, it is where we'll end it today. So the tournaments that you just saw are ready. They are going to be going into the Patreon branch potentially in like an hour or so if I get my act together, or tomorrow morning, and hopefully release in the next couple of days. And then the crafting tournaments will probably be the week after. Upgradable. So the tournament itself will be scaled to your realm instead of being like per realm. Just so that we don't have to faff around with a ton of different variants. Oh no, because we need rewards per realm. Making my life complicated. I'll figure that one out. Okay, well, some homework for me too. And once again, thank you all for joining me. I will leave you all to it. Catch you all again on Monday. Look forward to the releases. Have a great weekend and all that. And yeah, have a great day all. Goodbye.